I owned a sign company. I received a phone call from someone at a local mall. He was opening a restaurant in the food court. The catch was that he wanted to be open in 2 weeks for Black Friday, the busiest shopping day of the year. I met with him and mall management at the same time so that we could discuss ideas and get approval at the same time to speed up production. Got everything okayed from his big, overhead backlit menu sign, smaller signs on both walls, and signs for both registers. All in all, it was going to be a pretty large order. I typically get a 50% deposit, but the customer said something about international money transfers, and the mall management jumped right in to explain that payments were taking a couple of weeks to process, but everything they'd charged him had been paid. Because I had been doing a lot of work in the mall and I was trying to help them get this guy open, I agreed to do it without the deposit. I did layouts, he approved them, I showed him samples, he approved them. I got everything finished and installed the Tuesday before he needed us when things went downhill fast. He immediately started complaining that the material was wrong, even though he'd seen samples, and it wasn't what he wanted. Then he complained that the graphics were wrong, even though he'd approved them. He complained that the prices were wrong, even though they all matched the menu he provided. Wednesday afternoon, I called him again, and his wife answered. She cheerfully told me that I could take down my damn signs. They weren't paying for them. They had ordered signs cheaper from someone else, but they couldn't get them ready in time, and as soon as the other signs were ready, mine were going in the trash. That I'd screwed myself by doing the job without a deposit. I hung everything on her little side comment that I could take down my damn signs. Thursday, I had a delightful Thanksgiving lunch with my family. We watched football, we laughed, we enjoyed the day. I took my wife and kids home, loaded up a ladder, and joyfully went to the mall. I'd done enough after hours work at the mall that I knew there would be a door open somewhere and people in the large stores getting ready for the Black Friday crowds. I went in, tossed my ladder over the restaurant counter, and started taking down the signs. A couple of merchants in the mall asked me if the place was already closing. I told them the story, and the next thing I know, they are helping me take down the signs. In 30 minutes, the place went from looking like a fully opened, ready-to-rock restaurant to looking closed. I went home and slept like a baby. When I turned on my phone at 7:30 on Black Friday, I'd already had 15 missed phone calls from the restaurant owner, his wife, and the mall management. I called the mall management and they weren't happy. I told them the whole story. They still weren't happy with me, but they understood. I waited 15 minutes before the restaurant owner called screaming in the phone, demanding that I return with the signs. I politely told him that I needed the full amount, plus the cost of reinstallation, plus an extra $50 for working on an off day. He screamed at me. I hung up. He called back once more and demanded that I bring them back and he would pay me the next week. I said no, I needed cash. He screamed at me again. I hung up. I avoided the mall because screw Black Friday, but from what I hear, it was comical. His entire backlit sign was nothing but lit up bulbs. He'd handwritten a menu on an old box and taped it to the front of the counter. Every restaurant in the food court was slammed all day and nobody would even take his free samples. He closed mid-afternoon after realizing nobody was going to buy. He went through the entire shopping weekend with no signs and no business. The best part was that 2 weeks later, when his new signs from India finally were the wrong size. Screw you, Mr. Restaurant owner, for ordering signs from me that you knew you weren't going to pay for because you'd already ordered them from someone else. Comment. That last sentence is important. This seems like a criminal fraud case. At least theft of services. I'm no lawyer, this just seems illegal. Obviously, the guy ordered the signs that were the wrong size well in advance and needed to get something put up in a huge hurry. So he agrees to whatever price stated to get signs in time for his opening, intending to return them once the cheap ones came in. If you have someone do work you have no intention of paying for, then you stole their services and their materials. Comment. I feel like you could have taken out a lien against his business too. You had to pay to produce the signs, and you have the paper trail that proves he approved the work. Your end of the contract was upheld, and he's not a big enough company to drown you in lawyers. I realize this was, at minimum, nearly a year ago and that it's too late now. Just saying it so other people in similar situations have the idea. Also, extra $50? PSSH. Should have demanded a 10% surcharge for holiday labor. Please leave your story in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to get new update. Thank you.